welcome everybody to the Power Without Permission podcast. Today I've got Kirk Morozoff here with us today, and I'm so excited. How was your trip in today?
Trip was good.
Yeah.
Smooth drive. It took a couple of hours, but I think we were both so excited for it. So
yeah,
my girlfriend and I, yeah.
And before we start, so how did you meet your beautiful girlfriend?
Oh, this is in the gym.
Yeah.
It was really cute. We've had like a really nice little story. So I used to work at a supplement store right next door to this gym that Em used to work at.
Yeah.
And she was a personal trainer, and she was actually training her old client. Her name was Charlotte, and we went to school together. And apparently, I'm speaking through the lens of Em. She saw me and thought, like, who the hell is that guy, sort of thing. And it was really nice that's how she sort of saw me. And I did have like a little crush on her when I first saw her as well. But yeah, she introduced herself to me, and we just kicked it off straight away. And it's funny because like at that time of my life, I was so shut off from girls. I wasn't dating, I wasn't mingling, I wasn't doing anything. You were just
kind of focused on yourself. You think?
Focused on myself, but like I couldn't talk to girls. I don't know what it was. I had stuff going on, and then for some reason with her, I was like, yeah, like this girl's cool. And I was in the middle of like my most stressful time of my life. I was opening up my first business, and like I feel like that's going to come up a lot today, but I was so stressed out. And then we met up for coffee. It was a very short date. It went for like 10, 15 minutes because I was literally in the process of building my first business. I was going back and forth, talking to contractors and builders, and all this crazy shit was going on. But we actually didn't work out a couple times purely because I was so caught up in business and in my own shit, and was neglecting.
It's so hard to kind of combine the two things when you're focusing on one thing and then you've got your relationship coming in at another time. It's like you're trying to work it all out, and it can be a bit crazy, right?
Yeah. And I also was like, I was emotionally shut off. Like if you ask me now, like right now, if I could run a business and a relationship, 100%, like you need a supportive girlfriend or partner to get you through, because I wouldn't be where I'm at right now without Em.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I get it. Like it can be a little bit hard, but also at the same time, she's made life so much easier in terms of my business, being an entrepreneur and growing and stuff. But long story short, we reconnected a couple times, we're on and off, and then we started dating, and she moved to Newcastle, and we're doing long distance, and I use that as an excuse to be like, oh, like we can't do this. It's all a bit too hard, and I was focused on business, and then somewhere along the way it just clicked where I was like, fuck this, like I want to be with her. So I moved. So we were talking, but it really took me moving and taking that step forward to really wanting to be with her. And I moved completely. I sold my businesses, just really, I guess, first off chose myself and then chose her, and now we're in development and building our businesses together, living together.
You're both like on these crazy journeys, I feel, and it's actually so cool to like yesterday at the event to see you guys together and working, I guess, not only on your own identities but your business identities as well. It's just so beautiful to see. Like, I really loved meeting you guys.
Well, thank you.
Firstly, let's talk about who you are and what it is that you actually do.
Who I am? Oh, that's that's a fun one. I'm going to talk about what I do first. Who I am? I'm an outdoorsman. I love nature. Yeah. Love nature. Love the beach. Always been that way. I grew up like fishing, hunting, camping, just doing all the outdoor stuff. And physically, I'm a big guy, but internally, I'm a massive softie. And brought that out of me. So
you don't feel like you were always that kind of way? You feel
no. Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not. Like deep down, I was but there was a part of me that wasn't throughout my life. But big softie. I love. I consider myself a healer or a helper. Like that's always been my dream or aspirational goal in life, is through whatever work I do or whatever profession I have, is to just help and to be of service and to make impact in life. So that's who I am. And what I actually do to do that is I'm a life coach. I guess you can call it life coach, but my modalities are breath work. That's the newest one that I've taken on, and that's completely changed my life and is going to change many, many more.
Yeah, which is exciting.
Very exciting. So exciting. Like every time I talk about it to someone, I'm just like, wow, this is insane.
Yeah.
So it's a very exciting modality that I found, and Emma actually showed me.
So Emma was the reason as to why you first did breath work.
Em's the reason why I did breath work. She's the reason why I healed my trauma. She's like, that's what I meant. Like, she really helped me through so much stuff. Like,
that's so beautiful.
And that was through just pure love, authenticity, and just rawness. There was no lying about how she felt when I would act a certain way, and it was so conflicting. That was really why we didn't work out at the start, was because she just brought up so much shit that I hated about myself that I couldn't confront. And when it came to crunch time where we broke up, and I was like, okay, why the hell were we together, right? The first time. Literally, as soon as we broke up, most relationships or mingles or whatever it was that I got out of, the first thing I'd do is I'd go get on the piss. I would try and find girls and just fill a void, numb the pain. But this time around, I was like, all right, this girl's different.
And you're going to have to confront it, right?
And I started doing the inner healing and the work. Like, she was telling me throughout the relationship, like, you got to go see someone. I'm like, I'm fine. I'm great. I've got to go. And, I'm this big dude. I've got business. I've got money. I'm like macho sort of thing. But as soon as we broke up, I was like, nah, I'm fucked up. I need to.
It kind of brought everything to the surface.
Brought it up. And I started to go and see people. I started to do like inner child work, breath work, all of the things that, funnily enough, my mum does. She's a full spiritual woo-woo sort of
person. Wow. That's crazy.
Full on hippie, you'd call it. And I hated it. I hated it. But I think that was because, unfortunately, I didn't see how effective it was, because like my mum was sort of all talk about the woo-woo hippie stuff, but didn't really take action with it. And
so you didn't really see the value.
I despised it my whole life. And again, Em was the one that showed me breath work, inner healing work, emotional regulation, all of that sort of stuff. And every time she would speak of it, it was like I was talking to my mum.
Wow. That's a massive realization.
It was huge. I thought I was talking to my mum, and I'm like, oh my God, like, I can't be dating someone like my mum. Like, I love my mum. She's also my rock as to why she took so much care of me and love, and I'm so grateful for her. But at the same time, she never did you really use the modalities for herself. So I every time Em brought up breath work or inner healing, I was like, nah,
not for you.
Full of shit. And then we broke up. I was like, okay, something's got to give. So I started to see therapists and healers, and oh my God, like, this is only starting last year, April 2024.
Wow. So you feel like since that time, I guess a lot's happened, right, in your life as a person, or?
A million things. Everything. Like, so much has happened once I actually started to peel back the layers, once I started to work on myself. And it's been the most beautiful, painful, and hardest time in my life. Not in a sense that like it was like so difficult that I was feeling bad, but it was just the confrontation of facing my own problems was so difficult but so liberating at the same time. Like, I'm so happy that I finally made the decision to pick myself and to move without fear of judgment, because there was this little boy, this person inside that's been there for so long, but I hid him because of, I guess, social norms about how masculinity, yeah, like how men are meant to be, how they're programmed and designed, like exactly like that person that I was. Like I was big, strong, I was making money, just
achieving all these things, but inside you were kind of a bit broken.
yeah, all like very, very superficial. And that was how we were raised. That was the crowd I was around. And every time I even thought about being emotional, I felt weak initially. But now it's one of those things where like my goal is so massive in terms of just giving men and women the awareness to like give back to themselves, to accept their flaws and to accept their emotions, because our emotions are telling us something.
Yeah.
It's our body's telling us something. They're messages for us to listen to, but we're just so caught up in ignoring them 24/7 because of like everything that's going on in the world, like money, stresses, politics, social media, all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
And we're
propaganda.
yeah. And we're so disconnected at the moment. And I was disconnected, so disconnected. And yeah, once I started really doing the inner healing and the work, I've never been happier.
Yeah,
Like,
amazing.
Insanely.
And the first time you ever did breath work, what was that like? Because the first time I ever did it, I honestly felt so much come out, and I didn't realize at the time that I had so much in, right? What was your experience the first time you did it?
Yeah. A little different, because there's a couple different types of breath works, right? Like did you do like a breakthrough breath work?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, where you releasing your inner demons and your traumas.
Yeah, it was very intense. It was a very, very intense breath work. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very, very powerful form of breath work, and I love it. But my first one was actually the other end of it, the very calming and relaxing part of breath work, which is like a flow state. There's literally two spectrums to breath work.
Yeah.
Fast breathing to bring out those demons and those traumas.
Yeah.
And then there's slow breathing to settle you down, to relax you, to calm you down. And the power of it is being able to use the two.
Yeah.
But my very first experience was a really nice and relaxing breath flow. And just being able to do that first really highlighted how insanely fast my brain was going.
Yeah, isn't it crazy when you're just focused on your brain and nothing else? You're like, my God, like, how is my brain doing this? Like, how have I been, like, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. And it's insane, but it's so simple. And I'll explain along the way as to why it is that way. But my first experience was literally, I thought that's what life was like. Your brain going 1,000,000 miles an hour, worrying about bills, money, work, relationships, life, health, everything. My brain was going so fast. And I'm like, okay, this is how it is.
Yeah.
And to be quite honest, I hated it to a point that I thought, I'm not going to be able to continue living like this. Like I was literally wanting to off myself, like, because it was so much.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to find a way to overcome it.
But once you get to that point, then I feel like you have to figure out what it is that's making you get to that stage, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that first breath flow, because when you do such long breath holds and slow breathing and you connect back to your body, your brain, like you come back to your body. And my brain switched on, actually.
Yeah.
For a minute, and I just had clarity. I had just calmness in my mind. And I thought, wow, like this is possible. You can feel this way again. You cannot feel so anxious or stressed and heightened all the time. And I guess that's why I'm here today, is because I feel like majority of the world are in that state right now, just in their heads, going 1,000,000 miles an hour. And
technology as well, I feel, has made a massive impact on our generation specifically, because we've got the iPhone, we've got AI, we've got everything just in our faces 24/7. So I think another question I wanted to ask you was, can you take us back, I guess, to the version of you before you started your businesses, before you kind of, like, how did you kind of pivot into business? Like, what was your kind of, and then pivot out? Because your journey's a little bit roller coastery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the moment I knew I wanted to become an entrepreneur was seeing the state of my parents. Um, and it's funny because such beautiful people, like
Mm,
powerful, smart, intelligent, caring,
mm,
but they just they never chose themselves. They would work for other people. They would work for, I don't know. They were just thinking small and acting small. And I I grew up in a household where there was love, but there was also so much like restriction and lack of life. I guess like there was
mm.
no direction in where they were going. I just felt like we had a very small sort of family. Yeah, like a small family in that sense. And I didn't want to grow up following their footsteps,
Yeah.
right? They were drinking, smoking, like smoking marijuana all the time. We had nothing going on. And I was like, my whole life, I've always wanted, like, I'm just like a full on energetic person
Mm,
and I want more in life. So just growing up through school, I was like, I am not working for someone else.
yeah.
I was listening to teachers, the shit that they were putting on us. Like, I learned more in primary school than high school. Like half of the crap they were trying to.
There's such a big switch from early education to high school, isn't there? And
Yeah,
it's not just you that said that. So many people I've spoken to have said that to me, where it's like primary school, I feel like they put so much more emphasis in what you're learning, and then when you go to high school, it changes so dramatically. Um, do you feel like having your parents and that perception of them kind of turned you away from entrepreneurship, or pulled you towards it?
it pulled me towards it,
Yeah.
but I was dysregulated. So I wanted to be an entrepreneur and it was everything that I wanted to do. So the moment I left high school, I started up with Knockout Nutrition, my old business. And
Mm,
from the get go, it was, you're going to open up your own shop. My old business partner and I, from the age of 18, was like, you're going to open stores. And that was my aspiration.
mm,
And it always was. But the issue of me going in and out was that I was never regulated from the start.
yeah.
I grew up with alcoholism, drug use from a young age. I started drinking when I was 12.
Mm,
And although I wanted to be an entrepreneur, I still came from that dysregulated state. I was constantly stressed. I had traumatic experiences that were holding me down. I had so many self-inhibiting thoughts and habits and such a like victim mindset
mm,
that going through building up my first business, I was still, no matter how much I was making, how successful I was getting in the business, my state that I was in as a person still was completely dysregulated. You
yeah.
know, I
Yeah.
was addicted. I always doubted myself. I allowed people to, put me down, keep me thinking small. So yeah, my parents, seeing the way my parents struggled influenced me to be an entrepreneur, but I still had the same habits that they did that kept them small.
So you needed to kind of outgrow those habits in order to evolve to what you're doing now, right?
Exactly that.
Mm,
Exactly that. Like I, I was, what I thought was my goal was opening up a supplement store, and it was.
yeah.
I really loved it, but I was standing in the shadows of someone else.
Yeah.
Like it was my ex business partner's goal, and we had a really good relationship at the start. But I think my true goal was to help people
Yeah.
and to be of service,
Yeah.
and that's why I did nutrition and I helped with supplementation, and it was always my goal. But as we progressed, the business took a turn and it started to become just about money. Really just about money. We lost our values, we lost our morals. I didn't personally, but the direction that the business was going was all about money. And I just felt so like the business wasn't aligned with who I was anymore.
Yeah.
And I just I felt like an imposter. I didn't feel like the person that I thought I truly wanted to be was a healer, a helper, a person of service. I was
The person of impact.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
person of impact. Yeah, I was an alcoholic, a drug user, and I was making all this money, but all that money that I was making was just getting blown on superficial crap. alcohol, drugs, random shit just for clout. Like everyone was stroking my ego, being like, "Oh, you're killing it. You know, you got a
You're doing
business."
so well. Yeah.
It's like, fuck no.
You don't know what's actually going on.
This is horrible. I hate this.
Yeah. And when was the time with drugs and like, do you still drink socially, or you're not a drinker anymore, or what have you decided there?
So I have started to have a couple more drinks again. Em and I had a 4-month stint being sober, and I've
Yeah.
had moments where I've been on and off sober, but every single time I become sober again, like this is speaking before I learned these self-regulating habits, is I would always relapse.
Yeah.
If I took time off, as soon as I started drinking again, it got worse. I would binge drink. It'd be like, I'd give myself the tick of approval to drink even more because I had a couple weeks off, right? If I had a couple weeks off, I'd be like, no, you can send it. Like, you can double up. Like, you've been good. What the fuck does that mean? Like,
Yeah.
So I've started having a couple more again, but really I have so much more self-control, so much a better ability to just say no when I don't want to and just having less, because alcohol was my vice.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing now with the breath work and the regulating stuff, is that this could be controversial and people may not like this, but smoking, drinking, drug addiction, you're not addicted to that particular thing. You're not addicted to alcohol. You're not addicted to drugs. You're not even addicted to nicotine. You're addicted to the feeling that it gives you and what it's filling up or what you're missing in life, right?
Yeah.
So I was so stressed and so pent up my whole life. So I was in a really heightened state. So what does alcohol do and what do drugs do? It brings you back down. So I was just using it as a vice to slow my mind down because it was racing so fast that it was painful.
Yeah.
So yeah, once I started doing the breathwork stuff, I really learned how to, for one, doing the same breathwork that you did, where I started to work on unresolved traumas. They started going out the window, and I started to work on self-regulating habits and regulating my nervous system to the point that I wasn't drinking every time I got stressed.
Yeah.
I wasn't so stressed.
You were finding other ways to kind of cope with that rather than just going straight to that vice.
Literally, and all I was doing was breathing.
Yeah.
Like literally just breathing to cope with my stress. Our breath is a direct correlation with our nervous system, right? You've got two levels to it. You've got a parasympathetic state, which is called rest and digest. Have you ever heard of that?
No, I have not.
You haven't?
I'm so interested to learn though.
You learn it, trust me.
Yeah.
It's life-changing. But you've got the parasympathetic state. So rest and digest, which is that calm, relaxed state that we're in right now. We're feeling chilled, we've got mental clarity, everything's just happening.
Yeah.
And then you've got the sympathetic state, which is that heightened stressful state where we're anxious, irritable,
stressed.
Stressed. Yeah, just call it that stress state. Our breath is a direct correlation or a reflection of our state, right?
Yeah.
So if you look at it, the faster you breathe, the less oxygen you're actually getting and less carbon dioxide you're getting. With less carbon dioxide in your system means your body goes into that state of stress. So have you ever felt or seen, I'm sure you've felt it before, but when you're having a panic attack, is you start breathing really, really quickly, you're like,
yeah.
like,
panic attacks, unfortunately, are a very big part of my life.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you notice how your breathing goes up.
Yeah.
That activates that stress response. And what happens is the prefrontal cortex, the rationalizing thinking part of our brain, shuts off.
Yeah.
Completely. So we stop thinking rationally. As soon as you start feeling stressed, you freak out. It's like, in reality, it's not that deep. But
that moment, you're like, I'm going to die.
Yeah. It's a survival response. It's a stress response. That's how we've grown over thousands of years, is to, when there's a stressful response, is alertness, anxiety, stress. Our body releases glucose, like sugars, into our bloodstream. We tense up and we get ready to fight or flight. That's what the term comes from.
Yeah.
But that parasympathetic state, which is where we want to be, is that nice, calm and relaxed place. And we will only be there when our respiratory rate, so our breathing rate, is slower.
Yeah, okay. So
So
that makes so much sense now, actually, that you explain it that way. Yeah.
yeah. So our optimal rate of breath per minute is, they say 8 to 12, but the magic number is 6 breaths per minute.
Yeah.
So, and one of those breaths literally is like 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. We're not doing
Wow.
that.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're not doing that. And our, with all of these stresses in life that are coming in, so like money, like obviously the economy now is so fried. Like,
Yeah, the cost of living is on another level. It's really affecting people, I think, in all parts of the socioeconomic system. Yeah, it's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, and we're just accepting it,
Yeah.
right? And our stress levels are going higher and higher and higher, and we're
Mm.
just slowly adapting to it, thinking that this is meant to be our norm. It's not.
Yeah.
You know, you ever have a conversation with a person and it's like, oh, you know, like, how was work? Oh, you know, usual, stressful, but whatever. No, it's not meant to be. We're not meant to feel that way. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, there are moments of stress, right?
Yeah. But it shouldn't be your everyday life and everyday existence. Should not just be stress.
Yeah, a baseline. It shouldn't. Your state should not be constantly stressed. And
Yeah.
the majority of society right now, literally, I think a lot of us, majority, 90% of the population, are in a constant state of stress. And we've just gotten used to it.
Yeah.
50, 60-hour work days, blue light screens, processed foods, like social media, all of these things are just raising so much stress. And then that's the norm now, right?
Yeah.
But it's not an optimal way of living.
No.
And I learned that through having all of the things, right? Through having the goal, having the dream car. I had, you know, investments, I had property, I had my business, I had 3, 4 businesses open, right? And that's the goal.
Yeah. So you were living the entrepreneurial dream, really, at that time of your life.
Yeah. Yeah. I was living the dream, and it is still my dream.
Yeah.
To be a business owner, to own land and real estate, and to have my own freedom. But the state that I was in was so off that it wasn't a life that I wanted to continue to live. My end goal in life is peace and freedom and clarity and, you know, love.
And impact.
And impact, yes.
I feel like when you sell with impact, it really does change, one, your motivation of selling, but also how you sell too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we'll go back to that, the prefrontal cortex, the rationalizing part of our brain, is that when you're calm and relaxed, right, your thought patterns and processes become in line with who you are. Because the prefrontal cortex is the part of the brain where we rationalize, we critically analyze, and we can still think with emotion. So that's when we make right decisions. That's when we work in alignment with who we are. But as soon as we're stressed, then that prefrontal cortex switches off. We come from a place of irrationality, from anxiety, from stress. And when you're resonating from that state, your words, thoughts, actions, feelings,
all dysregulated.
Completely dysregulated, not aligned with who you are at all. And people now are associate, like, one of the biggest things, and this is probably going to trigger people, was when someone says, I'm just an anxious person.
Yeah.
I hear that, and of course they don't know any better, but I hear that and I go, you literally are just breathing too quickly.
Yeah.
Like, to numb it down, if you just slow your breath down and end up back in that parasympathetic state, anxiety goes, stresses go.
Once the science actually matches the action, it changes your life, right? And I used to have really, really bad panic attacks, and my dad would have to come over and like sit there, and he'd look at me. And at one point he came over because I was having one so bad, right? And I was in that heightened state that you're talking about. He just said, you need to breathe.
Yeah.
You just need to breathe. And I was like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? When we did the breaths, and I was able to come back down to that state. And then I've implemented tools since then to make sure that I don't get to that heightened state. So when you combine the science with the actual emotion, it makes it so much easier. It makes your life so much easier, right?
Yeah. And that's one of the missing tools, or key components in breath work at the moment is when you say breath work, the first thing that comes to a person's mind is some hippie in dreadlocks banging a drum telling them to, to get rid of their demons.
Yeah.
And that was me. When
Yeah.
Em used to mention breath work, I was like, what are you on about? Like, that's
Why are you gonna make me
crazy.
do that? Yeah.
We're just breathing. Like, we breathe daily, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you on about?
Yeah, waste of time.
But the issue is with the breathwork world is there's not enough explanation. And it is completely science-based. And it's as simple, like I said, in your tolerance to carbon dioxide, a gas, literally.
Yeah.
If you can take in more carbon dioxide, you will stress less.
Yeah.
But we're constantly blowing it off. We're breathing too quickly. We're not actually getting enough oxygen into our lungs, into our cells, into our blood. We're not releasing hemoglobin. And people, like, how often are we told, like, water and oxygen are like two of the main things? We're literally not breathing properly.
Yeah.
Majority of the world aren't breathing properly.
Yeah. Or doing the basic things of self-care like exercise and walking and all the other things that you, I guess, can implement. When did you realize that your story could actually serve other people and make impact, especially other men?
I realized that I could actually start impacting people the moment that I let go of my business. That was the biggest turning point in my life. When I finally stood up and chose myself and surrendered my ego and gave in to picking myself, was when I knew that I could make change. Because I was so stuck in this false reality or false dream of who and what I wanted to do in business. I thought, like I said before, I thought opening the business was my biggest achievement, but letting it go was. Because in doing that, I gained the courage to not allow money to control me, not allow ego to control me as well, and to give myself permission to actually deal with my problems and to reclaim my body, to reclaim my life and my health. And it was at that moment that I realized that it is possible to feel good. It is possible to have clarity in your mind, and it is possible to express your emotions. And as men, we don't do that. We aren't taught that. It's claimed as weak. It's claimed as...
It's a pushed kind of narrative that men have to just deal with it, right?
Yeah.
And that's why, unfortunately, so many men lose their lives every year, because they don't feel like they can talk or express that inner child that's kind of, I guess, trapped a little bit. What are some myths about stress that keep men stuck or ashamed?
Is that it's okay. Telling himself it's okay. Like, I've got some best mates and I'm like, how's everything? I'm asking him, how's everything going? They're like, yeah, good. Work's just stressful. It is what it is. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's not. It is what it is. If you are stressed, you are stressed. Accept it. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to say that you're stressed.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's the biggest thing, is just accepting that you've got a problem. Like, men are just so... like, for whatever reason, like whether it's societal norms or the way that they were raised, is to not be expressive. Like, I used to always get told, and I was told recently by my dad, I used to get told by my ex-business partner, by anyone, it's like, you're too emotional, right?
Yeah.
And I started to suppress those feelings. But what is emotion? Is emotion just crying? Is emotion just sadness? Like,
and what's actually weak about showing emotion is what I've never understood either.
Yeah.
Because I don't understand what sharing emotion has to do with being a weak male or a weak man, you know? Yeah.
Well, the misconception is that strong, brave, macho man is to be impenetrable, is to stay strong in, you know, moments of weakness or whatever it is. But it's completely backwards, right? The thing is there's a complete misconception of what emotions are, because when a man speaks about being emotional, they talk about crying, being upset. Like, a lot of men will call women emotional, which, yes, they are, but men are more emotional.
Yeah.
You see the anger, the frustration.
It shows up in different ways than it does to women, right?
It does.
Yeah.
But because us men think we can labelize what emotions are and we think that we know better because we're egotistical.
Yeah.
We're not emotional. We're
Yeah,
cool. We're
yeah.
sweet. We're fine. But
Yeah.
no, most men that I know and grew up with are so much more emotional than women.
Yeah.
Like women are so far ahead with their emotions and their own power. And it's starting to show that when you see women crying and expressing themselves, they're discharging. They're expressing themselves and they're moving up, whereas men are so shut off from it. And they think that because they can like avoid crying, or they think that they can avoid the confrontation of feeling their emotions, that they're stronger. It's like, no, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
And I grew up that way.
Yeah.
And yeah, once I started working on my own emotional regulation and accepting it, holy heck, last year, from I think because I was grieving having to leave my business, I didn't really want to, but I knew I had to take this new step in my life. I was crying every single day, once, twice, 3 times a day. Like you ask Em, I was an emotional wreck.
Yeah.
But that was years and years of suppression and built up anger and emotions that I cried for 4 months straight.
Yeah.
The moment that I let go of the business and signed off the papers that I was leaving, I had the biggest cry that day.
Yeah.
But from there, I didn't cry for another couple months.
Yeah.
I released so much held
baggage
up
and
baggage, anger, insecurities, and all these things like that. New step in my life. I cried it all out.
Yeah.
And it's now improved my relationship with myself, my relationship with my partner, my relationship with business, because again, remember, I'm not hiding it anymore. I'm not stressed.
Do you feel like you've become a better man because of it?
Yeah, every day of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been humbled along the way, brought back to my roots that sometimes, again, the male ego can sometimes get the better of me and really bring me back. But I am, without being egotistical, such a better person.
Yeah.
I feel like I can actually give to the world now. My thought patterns aren't negative. I'm not constantly criticizing people. I can love unconditionally for myself, for my partner, and all of my, again, actions, thoughts, habits, everything are in aligned with who I truly want to be.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. So in general, how does a nervous system show up kind of dysregulated when you meet certain clients? Like, how do you know that their system is just out of whack?
Well, first off, the first signs is probably sleep.
Yeah.
Sleep is one of the biggest things because there's no way around it. It's a direct parameter to use to go, okay, if you're not sleeping properly, there's something going on. You can claim whatever it is that you want to be, but not being able to sleep is a reflection of your nervous system because you're in that heightened state. You're not relaxed. You're tense. Your body's not being given the ability to unwind and relax.
Yeah.
And you'll hear people saying like, oh, it's because of caffeine intake or whatever it is. It's like,
or the blue light. That's the latest thing.
But what's the underlying thing there?
Yeah.
Blue light causes cortisol production, which is our stress hormone.
Yeah.
Caffeine increases stress. Caffeine increases cortisol. So stress is the very first, like as soon as someone says that they're not sleeping properly, they're stressed.
Yeah.
That's the first sign. Secondly is energy is a little bit hard to navigate around because there's multiple sort of things that can affect a person's energy. But when I do a client reference or I check their questionnaires or I sort of try and investigate what's going on, if they're eating cleanly, they're drinking water, they're exercising, and they're still feeling lethargic and low in energy, they're burnt out.
Yeah.
You know, like you'll hear a lot of nutritionists or people say that, oh, you know, energy is fuel, energy is food. But when your nervous system is fried or it's not regulated, you don't get to send signals to your brain correctly. Your digestive system doesn't work efficiently.
Yeah.
And that's the next sign is your digestive system. You hear a lot of people say, I'm constantly bloated and of course, if they're eating like crap.
Yeah, like if you're eating McDonald's every day, it's probably not gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
Let's not get too deep of it. But you'll hear a lot of people say that they're another controversial thing, and I hear a lot with women that I work with, and I love this because I get to help them,
Yeah.
right? But you'll hear a lot of the lactose intolerances and the gluten intolerances come up in question.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I can be a little bit cutthroat with it, but I'm like, until you come back and show me your blood samples or your blood tests that say you're
Like an
celiac,
actual,
you're celiac or you are lactose intolerant, because all that is not being able to produce lactase, an enzyme,
yeah,
then you're not lactose intolerant or like gluten intolerant.
yeah,
And I'll be like, oh, but I am, but I bloat every time I have this food. And it's like, okay, well, if your digestive system isn't working efficiently at all, how can you blame a particular food group?
yeah.
Because remember that rest and digest state I was saying is our body will produce blood to our gut effectively when
Yeah.
we're calm and relaxed.
Yeah.
And the moment that you're stressed is your body ceases transporting blood to your gut and starts transporting it to your muscle tissues and to where it needs to go. That's the stress response. So our body can respond to a stressor. So what happens is our body stops producing blood to our gut. And if you're constantly stressed, your digestive system is constantly slowing down.
Yeah.
And when it slows down, the foods that we're consuming are just sitting there. They're fermenting. And when we ferment and create an imbalance in bacteria or bad bacteria in our gut, we start to bloat and get constipated and
Have all these other issues.
have all these gut issues. So a lot of the time it's like, really draw it back, focus on your state. And with my customers, obviously they're the one, my clients, they're the ones that I attract. They're generally in a heightened state and they're stressed. Is, of course, we focus on the nutrition and the water. But the moment we get them out of a state of stress and back in their body, their guts
completely fine.
Yeah, are completely
So
fine.
there is definitely a direct correlation between stress and your digestion, is what you're saying.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. The nervous system sends signals to the body, the brain, the digestive system. And the moment that those signals are being disrupted, our gut starts to work inefficiently. Yeah. And food builds up and we start getting bloated. And the first thing we want to do is blame particular food groups. It's like, come on, man.
I think in social media as well, a lot of people tend to self-diagnose things without actually going and speaking to a doctor or getting actual medical advice. What's your kind of stance on that? Has that been something that's quite prevalent with your clients and things like that, or?
Yeah, definitely. Self-diagnosing is the first. I hear that a lot from clients, but it's funny you say that. Is the other side of it is they go to a doctor.
Wow.
They go to a doctor, and what the doctor tells them, right, is whatever the hell they want to tell them.
Yeah.
And I use this analogy with doctors, right? Because I can't stand when doctors give nutritional advice, because you don't go to a carpenter to do your plumbing.
Yeah.
So why would you get your doctor to give you nutritional advice?
Yeah.
And straight away you'll hear a doctor. There are some really good doctors out there, but just from experience, the majority of doctors is they'll just make up some random shit and just say, like, the first time someone will bring up a digestive problem, you hear them say, oh, get rid of red meat. Why?
Yeah.
Oh, where did you get that from? Like, honestly. So yeah, you'll get clients self-diagnosing. First off, they say, I'm lactose intolerant, because they consume lactose and they bloat. So instantly they think, oh,
Must be
I'm lactose intolerant. So yeah, we get that a lot. But then the other issue is when people seek professional help and they go to a doctor, and then the doctor tells them something, and that's what they start to believe.
Instead of going to like a nutritionist or a dietitian or somebody with a bit more of a background specifically in relation to digestive health.
Yeah, exactly that. And that's why I go to the analogy of, you don't get a carpenter to do your plumbing.
Yeah.
They may know a bit about it, but they don't know specifically what they're meant to be doing.
Yeah.
So I think there's just a lot of misinformation, and social media as well. Social media is the biggest killer. And the problem is with nutrition is that they focus on a method rather than the actual end result, right?
Yeah.
So you hear keto, diets coming up, and you hear like carnivore diets coming up, Mediterranean, low fat, low carb, whatever it is. And people will spit these particular types of diets because it is what is going to help, either it has helped them or they use it because that's how they want to make money, right? And the carnivores out there right now, they're trying to make some money. It's like,
the meat only diet.
The meat only diet.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, carnivores, but you need some fiber.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've seen a few carnivore coaches where they're like, yeah. And then they throw in a bit of like an avocado or some blueberries or something like that. I'm just like, it's not carnivore, man. You're just like, but anyways, I'm sort of veering off here, but you'll see a lot of different types of diets out there on social media, and they're all just trying to sell you their method. So it confuses people with eating when in reality, focus on the principles. That's the one. It's principle over procedure. That's what I was thinking of before.
Yeah.
Focus on the principle. What is the principle? Meeting our nutritional requirements. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, that's literally it. Hit your protein requirements, your carbohydrate requirements, how many fats you need, drink your water, get your fiber, get your micronutrients. How do we do that? However you want.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If it's from having more fruits or more vegetables or more red meat or any particular sort of food group, that's your own. However you want to do it is entirely up to you.
Yeah.
But we get so caught up in the method rather than the actual principle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think men are often conditioned to ignore or suppress stress?
2 reasons. It's what we've been shown and grown up with. Like our parents, generations before that, it's just, that's how we've been shown to stay strong.
Yeah.
But it's obviously been mislabeled. And then secondly is just that masculine ego.
Yeah.
Yeah. No man wants to show vulnerability nowadays.
Yeah.
But showing vulnerability in itself is strength. I think that's the biggest thing. So when you see, I think one of my experiences is, and I've been vocal and expressive about it, is I show myself crying on social media nowadays, just because I feel as though if I am of influence and someone else can see that I'm crying, a man in particular, then they may feel inspired to cry. Because crying is so powerful, right?
Yeah.
And I get messages from my friends, guys, and I get it. They are being like kind and compassionate, but straight away they're like, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay?" It's like, there's not a problem with crying, but we're programmed as though there is. So straight away, it's like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "I'm good.
Yeah.
I just cried.
Yeah.
I feel better now. I feel great. I cried because I want to feel better." But the male idea of, if you cry, there's something wrong. No, I'm just discharging emotions. I'm going through what I have to go through, and I feel better for it afterwards. But it's so difficult to explain that, because the moment you shed a tear, it's like, "Oh no, what's wrong?" Everyone freaks out.
It's uncommon. So people are like, "Oh my God, what's going on?"
Yeah. Like, "Are you okay? Do you need to be fixed?" No. Just let me cry. Let it flow, And then as soon as, trust me, and I'll say this, like, to any guy out there listening to this, the moment you cry afterwards, you'll be like, I feel great.
Yeah.
You're caught about your life, but you actually feel better in the moment. You're not holding on to this thing that's weighing you down, that's playing with your mind. Right?
So what message would you send to, I guess, young men nowadays that are either going through something themselves similar to what you went through? What's your kind of, I guess, key bit of advice to them?
Pick yourself. Like, give yourself what you need.
Yeah.
Stop beating around the bush. Stop trying to make sure that you're catering for everyone else first. Pick yourself first. Because this is a massive thing. When you pick yourself first and you give yourself what you actually need, you will start to do the healing. You will start to work through the things that are affecting you. And I feel like a lot of people they get labelized as selfish when they're not picking themselves. It is selfish because you're picking yourself, but it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, because when you pick yourself first, you give yourself the love, the time, the energy, and the pure love that you deserve. You radiate on a fucking higher level. Like, you get to give back to the world that energy that you're resonating with, right? But if you're holding on to your stresses, if you're not treating yourself, if you're not giving yourself the love and the power and the energy that you deserve, you're going to be resonating down here.
Yeah.
And then that's what you give back to the world. So men are so caught up in keeping it together, burning themselves out, burning their nervous system, affecting their energy, affecting their relationships, allowing themselves to stay pent up and stressed and anxious, and thinking that they're doing a service to the world. No, that's the energy that you're going to project. So give back to yourself. Heal. Unconditionally heal yourself. Give yourself the love that you deserve.
Yeah.
Right? Because once you do that, you give so much more to the world. You give so much more to yourself. You have so much more love to give to the world. So
yeah, I mean, as a parent, as a mum, when I started actually focusing on me as an individual as well, I've noticed that the way that I parent has just leveled up on it. It's like a whole different world. You know what I mean? I'm able to show up for my son with like intention and a better authority as well, not in a negative way, but just as a woman. I think like women and men both need to prioritize themselves. I feel like in this society, it's just not something that we do. So talking about you and your business, so what is the KM Body Reset and who is it for?
So the KM Body Reset is a 16-week program that is purely designed for regulating your nervous system. So, we regulate the nervous system, but it's focused on managing stress.
Yeah.
It's focused on reducing anxiety. It's focused on removing self-sabotaging habits. Self-sabotaging habits.
Yeah.
The KM Body also has a diet plan, which entails physical change and internal change. And there are also modules as well in there that help with mindset and habit regulation too. In the KM Body Reset program, we also have breakthrough breathworks, which is what you've done before, which actually works on trauma-based healing. Now, a lot of people look at it like, oh, but why am I healing my traumas? Is because your traumas are things that are holding you back.
In every aspect of life, yeah.
Yeah. So to summarize it is, we've changed you on a physical sense through nutrition. We regulate your habits, your anxiety and stress through breath work. And we change your fixed mindset to an open mindset where you can reset the way you think, the way you move, the way your body functions and the way you act. That's the whole process, really.
And what's kind of your, I guess, from the clients that you've already had, what would be one of the biggest transformations you've seen?
One of the biggest transformations that I've seen is, there's like, are we talking physical? Are we talking emotional? Or just biggest in general?
It could be anything, yeah. It doesn't have to be specific.
There's one client that I'm working with at the moment that had gone through some traumatic experiences. And for me, this is massive because this is in alignment with who I actually want to be as a coach. I've had transformational physical changes where we've dropped 10 kilos, 20 kilos, we look amazing. But this one client that I'm working with at the moment really has touched my heart in how I've been able to help her, because she went through a traumatic experience, and essentially because of this trauma that happened recently, it started to really cripple her patterns and her movement. She couldn't leave the house. She was crying every day, which of course I've been actually telling her to do, cry, to let it out.
Yeah.
But she got to a point where she was so stuck in herself, in her trauma, in her anxiety, in her stresses, that her quality of life was completely diminished. But literally, and we're in early stages with it, but just through basic practices, we've now given her the ability to be able to go to the gym freely.
Yeah, that's amazing.
To step outside without feeling completely anxious that she's going to be harmed, not living in a constant state of fear. We've I've given her and helped her slow her mind down to the point where she's not constantly racing with thoughts and emotions. And we actually are doing our first breakthrough tomorrow.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
which I'm really excited for.
Yeah.
But I know it's not 10 kilos weight drop, or it's not like hitting a PB on a bench press. But for me, it's like giving back quality of life, giving her the ability to breathe and open up her wings and just start to live again.
Yeah.
Has been one of my biggest achievements as a coach.
I love that so much. And before we wrap up, I guess, what does power without permission mean to you?
Power without permission means to me having the ability to move and act unconditionally, to do what serves you, to do what's best for the world without restriction.
Yeah.
Without allowing anyone else to tell you what you should or shouldn't do. Although there are people out there looking out for you, is being able to put one foot in front of another and to take control of your life, to have the power to do what it is that truly inspires you as a person. That's powerful, because I had power like in quotation marks, through money, through business, through control, or all of those things, but they are so insignificant to having the power and the ability to just be yourself unconditionally, and to just move without judgment, to move without fear. That's power to me. And if I can help people to find that power in themselves again, to move freely in direction with who they truly want to be, then that's me done. That's my life fulfilled.
Thank you so much for coming onto our podcast, and I'm so excited to see how everything works out for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.